Hey guys, Lucky here with a Minecraft map showcase, or not really showcase, almost like a behind the scenes, so to speak, of Hangman. And Hangman is a game that I had just finished developing, I think 2 weeks ago, and within, I believe it was 4 days, I had the honor of noticing that BajanCanadian and Jerome had actually played the map and posted it. So immediately attention was to the map because of this massive video that went up from both of them. So I want to just, before this video starts, thanks very, very much to Jerome and Mitch for that. That was fantastic. And apparently they revealed an inside joke in that too, so I guess they still feel a little confused about that. But, yeah, so about a lot of you guys have probably been thinking, how does this map work? And I think from what you've seen, you can at least see the redstone. Most of the system isn't actually complicated, it's just a lot of one specific parameter. So I'm just going to kind of take you guys through each section of the commands, starting with game rules. So 1.8 added a couple of new game rules. Looking for them. Log admin commands. That is a couple. That one I didn't really use, but that if you do like game mode, then it won't say anything back to you if you do game mode. Or no, if an admin does an op command or something like that, it'll say something. Send command feedback is the command that I actually had to utilize. Whoa. What that does is like if I was to type game mode 2, you can see it didn't do anything. It didn't say your game mode has been changed, as it always does. That was pretty important because a lot of the things that happened in the map, especially the one where you set your letters, if it worked out the way it's supposed to, it would actually tell everyone what letter you just set. It'll say set the score to 1 or whatever, which is directly revealing it. So I had to set that off, so thank Mojang for adding that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the basic core principles I used when I built this map. Most of them are just thinking. It's just straight up a very straightforward process. So before we start into anything complicated, I just want to say the main... Where is it? Yeah. So I have two teams. One team is called Maker and one team is called Guess. As you can tell, the Maker is the maker, the one who makes the word, and Guess is the one who guesses the word. I had to set up properties to each person specifically, so the maker would get the books and the guesser wouldn't, and it would get certain messages that the maker didn't get. So I had to make sure that there was a team thing set up for that. And I found no use to use a scoreboard, so I didn't show any scoreboards on the side of the screen, so I left that blank. Now, if you guys, I bet most of you probably know how to do the majority of this stuff. Most of these, like, for example, there's a tell raw command here. You can use generators to get this stuff, that's what I did. I can't write tell raws myself yet. Let's see. Ready, I had to track when both people hit ready. That's adding to the team. Now, all this does is it makes so that you can't, this button breaks. You can't hit the button again. That was just so that you couldn't spam the button. Okay, so that is the first section of the system. That's setup stuff. It's very simple. So let's head in here next. So in the original few releases, which you guys would be very familiar with, I just set up, whoops, I made it so that the word setup was done by room to room. Now, the main disadvantage of this was that everyone got confused. I wrote descriptions all over the map, but no one ever figured out how to do this. So the way it had been designed originally is, this is room number 2, I believe I went into. Room number 2, you click on a letter, and then you hit next letter, or to go on. If you wanted to go back a letter, you hit previous letter. If you're switching from a letter to the space bar, then you hit reset, and finish finishes the word there. You wouldn't actually really need to use that until you get to at least the 5th word. So this is the way I first did it. Each of these rooms going down was 1 through 15. But then I realized that there was 2 reasons this was kind of tedious. One, it's kind of confusing and it's very lengthy. And the second way was, I also have been researching some of the new things that Mojang had been doing 1.8, and I found out that they were adding a bunch of new book parameter stuff so that you can conduct commands from books. And I said, hey, why not just write the whole alphabet into a book and make it easy? So that's what I did. I transitioned it to a book. Unfortunately, Mitch and Jerome played the map just before I released this version of it. So you guys got to see this super complicated and confusing start. Now, the way this map works, so I'm going to kind of like, I'm going to go ahead and illustrate with wool to try to make it easy. So, I'm going to make very obvious wool. Okay, so what I did was, when you finish setting your letters, what I do is I have a system, I believe it's this one right here. It says, okay, how many of these 15 slots available have a value been assigned to? Which is testing for greater than 0, not including 0. 0 would be if you didn't set it. So what it does is for every time that a value from slot 1 through slot 15, which is the way, oh, let me go through that first before I get into this. What I did was every one of these is arranged by a slot. And when I say slot, I mean, let me try and see if I can trigger one of the slots. I forgot which one. Yeah, here it is. Alright, let me set... Here, let me try and manipulate this without... Okay. What? Okay, so here is an example of a slot. This is slot 1 of the board. Slot 2 would spawn right here next to it. Slot 3, and then so on. So that's how I did things. I wrote separate systems per slot. I will explain this system a smidge later. It looks complicated, but it's not that bad. So the way Hangman works is that the person sets the word. So in slot 1, so let's just say it's B right now. So in slot number 1, I would have put the value B. So the official value of that slot is 2. So that's the value that the system needs to find. Now, what it also does is it tests for a separated scoreboard for each letter, call the name of the letter. If that value equals 1, that means that the person guessed it. If the value, so what we're looking for in the command is this. Actually, just do with science. So what I did with the command is this. It's very simple. So it was actually, let me write word maker. Has the word maker set the letter to B. That's the first check, and the second check in the system is has the player, I can't spell today, sorry guys, has the player guessed the letter, I don't care, B. So what I'm looking for is, first off, so when you guys set up the word, it creates a value that is equivalent to the letter, so 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is C. I'm looking for, has the word been set to B, and has the letter been guessed? That's how I did it. So if I was to look into this command right now, I'm going to try and simplify things. So first off, mode is just a random objective I put in to try and separate this time from setup to now. So nothing happens in setup that doesn't need to happen there. I'm looking for the score of slot 1, this is the letter A. So the score of slot 1 has to equal 1. So you can see there's a minimum 1 and maximum 1. So it has to be 1. And then of course looking for has the player guessed A. That's it. So this is slot 1. So then this is B of here, and then C. Oh, whoops, not that one. And this is C, D, all the way down to Z. This is slot number 1. And then the same exact thing for slot 2. And then all the way down to Z. So that is that system. That's how I tracked the guessing. So aside from that, I think people might be saying, how did you do the hopper stuff? So all I did was this system here collects the hopper, or the items in the hopper. If there is an item present in the hopper, then it sets a value that I set up to help check for either the word being guessed correctly or wrongly. Para, that's what that is. And then it does the following things. It says, as everyone said, the player has guessed the letter and then the letter name. And then above it, I set the value of A, which is the objective that is, has the player guessed this letter, to 1. And since this now is no longer true, this would turn off, and then the piston would actually extend to block that as it is shown. Now, I noticed something was happening. When you reload the game, if everyone leaves, all the command blocks have to respond again, so it glitches all these blocks forward. So what I did And I noticed it was happening a lot, and then people do leave the game sometimes before the game's fully, like, completely done. I put a, right here, I put a fill system to get rid of all the blocks there, which is what you guys see for a split second where all the pistons and the stuff vanish, and they just spawn back there suddenly. So what this does is it will, where is it? I believe, yeah, here it is. So this first thing it does, it filled earlier. It clones all the pistons back, and then it clones all the blocks back. The next section I want to go over is the letters. So what I did was I made all the letters in 3x3 quartz blocks, slabs, and stairs, and I sorted them through here all the way down to Z. These are the blocks that I had cloned from these coordinates up onto the board anytime a letter is guessed. So as you can see, I pre-programmed in a word earlier because I was bored, but as you can see, if I if I triggered off some of these commands, you'd see the whole letter appear. I'll run the game later and explain as it goes all of that stuff is happening, but most of it is very self-explanatory. So this is a legacy system that I had used, but then I kind of gave up on and never broke it because I'm lazy. This is how I detect the end of the game. The game ends when both the end cap and the number of correct guesses are the same exact value, mainly. So what I'm looking for, has the player guessed the number of letters that are greater than 0, the value of 0. That's all that is. So one of the last components of the system that you guys might be interested in is the cleanup system. All this does is it fills the entire board with gray wool, and that clears that. So it clears the board like that, and then it clears the what would be the Hangman. And lastly, it resets all the values right as the game is ending. Now, some of you, I've seen so many people asking me questions, what's with the fireworks and how does that work? People, you guys, it's easy. If you guess the word, then the fireworks go off. If you do not guess the word, then you get a depressing sound, and then you stand in the lobby and feel ashamed of yourself. And the other person laughs at you because you didn't guess it. Or they laugh at you because it's an embarrassing word and you should have guessed it. So the way that works is I have a delay system that will automatically say this is incorrect if it's not stopped. It is stopped if the guess is correct. It'll override it, which is the piston here. So this is the wrong guess system. If it's detected to be wrong, then it will simply give you back. It'll make a noise. It'll give you back all your stuff. It'll say your guess was incorrect. Guess again. That's not part of the word. And then it'll let you guess again, unless that was the 8th guess. Then it'll stop it and teleport everyone back to the lobby. And yeah. So, and the final thing aside from the Hangman thing, which I'll show you guys in a second, the way the game ends is one of two things happens. Your number of guesses gets to 8 wrong, which is when I reset all the stuff and it gets depressing. Or the person guesses the letters, which, on top of end of the game, a fireworks show goes off around the lobby because it's very appropriate. Why would you not have fireworks if you didn't win? So that's that. And the last thing I think you guys might want to go take a peek at is the Hangman. So what I actually did was every time the incorrect is the number of guesses you get wrong. So every time incorrect goes up by 1, it clones part of the actual Hangman from back here onto the board. So as you can see, there's the base, there's the hook, and there is the crazy, weird Steve guy. So what happens is it clones him piece by piece onto the board, and you know, the more you get wrong, the more parts of his body show up, and it looks kind of creepy. If you get his whole body down, then it's not very pleasant. I had originally designed it to be like this, but you guys all know what that looks like, so I'm just like, I don't want to encourage people to think that's, you know, it's not very appropriate. I didn't want to have people saying, why does the guy look like that? Because that's not really. Young kids don't need to be seeing all this junk. So I rebuilt the character so he looked more appropriate. So that's pretty much the majority of the game. Oh, actually, let me show you how the book works. So let me go ahead and trick the system into thinking that I am the maker. I might have already set that up myself. Okay, so the book is really simple. I had to use a generator, a text generator. What the text generator does is the text generator, whoops, this one. Alright, so what this text generator does is it will actually, I don't know. I use a Telraw book generator. I'm sorry, I'm getting really slurred here. I use the Telraw book generator, and this, what it does is it will create a book with special characters in it that can trigger events. So you guys probably have seen this by now. If not, if this is new, it shouldn't be. So as you can see, the letter is clearly displayed up here on top. You can see all the letters in the alphabet all the way down to Z, and the space bar is here too. So what happens, you click on a letter, it closes the book basically to tell you that, yeah, it worked. You hit next to keep going. So if I hit next right now, it wouldn't work because the game wasn't set up correctly because I skipped and broke some stuff. I'll probably reset the map in a second and play through. But what it does is it keeps giving you books with the letters for each next slot, all the way up to 15. So it's an easier way for me to, it's an easier way in general just to set up the word. I think it's cleaner too because people get confused so quickly. You can't go wrong with a book where everything's right in front of you. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much... Let me see if I forgot anything. That was a legacy system I gave up on. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to show you the actual secret behind how this works. So, you guys see what looks like a immobile minecart with a command block. You are wrong. It is actually a super simple system. All you do is you put a command block minecart, and you set the command to either a set block or a fill or whatever. So set it to fill above it with a redstone block. So as you can see, there's a redstone block here, and it keeps putting it back. Now I'm going to do set block. So I'm going to set the block under this command block to air. So as you can see, this command block will make it redstone, and this will make it air. Since I break this, or I broke it. So now, if you guys can't see, it's constantly updating like crazy. Put a block there, it'll despawn it. And to prove to you guys that this actually does work, we'll write a quick command C. It constantly updates every like split second. So this is how and also the main reason I use this system is because the game doesn't have to render block updating. It works, completely works, but the game doesn't have to load more constantly changing blocks. The old system that I used to use was an old flicker system, I think I called it. All it really was this. The reason why this is very bad to use is because, as you can see, my frames are already starting to drop a little bit, but yeah, it's updating. But the frames, it kills your FPS. If you use one of those even, it still can kill your FPS. So that's, a lot of people have been saying it's a smooth game. That's why, because the map doesn't have to load updating blocks. It only has to load the cloning commands on the board. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go. If you guys are done, that's pretty much the game. You can, if you want to keep watching, I'm gonna play the game and tell you guys physically what's happening by the scoreboards next. So if you want to stay tuned for that, I think some people might want to see that. If not, then leave a like, subscribe if you like this map, give me some suggestions. I would love ideas because I am brain dead. I had this random urge to make a Monopoly map, but I want to wait a little bit first because I want to use the books for purchasing land and all that whatnot, and I want to wait until Mojang finishes fixing some of the selector bugs that I actually found when I was setting up this map. So yeah, I mean, it's 1.8. It just came out. This map is completely updated for 1.8, so that's pretty cool. I spent some time just rewriting a few play sound commands. Everything else worked. So, yeah, guys, if you want to download Hangman, I'll have a link in the description. There's 2 places you can get it from, either my website or you can get it from the Minecraft map site, which it just exploded because of Jerome and Mitch pointing the downloads there. I'd love to see YouTube videos, and yeah, guys, I will skip ahead to the playthrough section. I hope you guys like it, and yeah, here we go. Hey guys, I'm back with a fresh copy of the map, completely untouched, and I am going to kind of explain as I'm going through the major components of the game what's going on. So I already explained how the command blocks work. I want to explain why they work in a way. So I'm just going to pay attention mainly to the commands that I use to run the game. So as you can see, this looks for 2 people to press to have a value on ready. Alright, so since I set myself as the word maker, I'm given the book. The book is called Word Manual, and it allows you to set up a word. So I'm just going to put Minecraft in there just because. So you click on the letter, I think you can see, yeah. Click on the letter, and then next. Give it a second. Oh, and if you saw that, it just deleted all the pistons and put them back in the quartz. So I'm going to set the entire word like this, and then wait a sec, and then the next word, and then, or not word, the letter, and then so and so on. Okay, give me a second to finish putting all these values in. A, F, T. Okay, so since that was the last letter of the word, I'm going to hit finish. So something different that I added was the book can return to you the values that you set. So this looks confusing, it's not. The top where it says word confirmation up here, this is the key if you don't want to put numbers to letters. This is the letter key all the way down to no select, which is 0. So what you do, these are the values you set your word as. Since these are all 0, but they're obviously you didn't use them. But 13 is M, 9 is I, 14 is N, 5 is E, 3 is C, 18 is R, yeah, 1 is A, 20 is F, or no. Oh, would you look at that, I messed up. Okay, so I need to go back to slot. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to go to slot 7. I need to go to slot 8 and fix that. So here, you guys get to see an example of what you would do if you broke or did something wrong. So I didn't click on F correctly. It messed that up. So, or I messed that up. So, all right. So F and then T. Now let's see. M-I-N-E-C-R-A F T. There we go. See, I misclicked something. So yeah, that's correct. When it's correct, it will appear on the board. Since I am not on the guessers team, it did not give me an ingot. I would have an ingot if I had been on the guessing team. Alright, so I'm just gonna give myself something. Okay, so what the system is looking, so the system has the values of the actual correct letters set up now. So let's just say, I guess, Y, which is obviously not part of the word, but so as you can see, it clones the structure up there. Y, the value of the I guessed Y is now 1. So that doesn't matter because none of the letters actually have 1 as their value. So now if I ran over here and put it in N, since the third letter of the word Minecraft is an N, that letter only is affected. And since that was correct, it added 1 to my correct score. So I have 1 letter out of the 9 correct. Now, I'm going to go ahead and guess out half the word. As you can see, the pistons are coming out pretty fast. That's because of how fast I update the score underneath here. Yeah, so normally, okay, so I'm going to talk strats now. So, everyone knows Hangman is a game that people try to mess you up on. So, what you would normally do is you guess the common vowels first. So, I would do A, E, or I. If you want to be daring, try O or U. I would guess 2 of the vowels, pick randomly. Make sure you get at least 1 of them. So, that way you at least get a little bit of a framework of the word. So, like, you know, then you can apply some grammar rules. So, like, if you look at the letter I, then you know that there's only so many letters that can come after or before the letter I that makes sense. So, like, let me just go ahead and throw it in R. So if you have this part of the word, you can start kind of slapping letters into the rest of the word and saying what actually makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the word, though, because we all know what it is. Okay. M-C-R-A. Okay, so C and F. Alright, so as you can see, I keep guessing the right letters because I know what the word is. It's not supposed to work that way. But, yeah, so that's the entire word. Now I've guessed correctly 9 times, so that's why the fireworks are going off when I'm back in the lobby. So I guessed right 9 times, and there were 9 possible letters to guess right. So that's how the game mainly works. Now, aside from like strats, I mean, you're not, when you write the word, you're not supposed to make it into a like a random jabble of like letters that don't make sense. You're supposed to write a word down, and it can be a word, it could be words. You could write down like Elder Guardian or like rabbit or rabbit foot or something like that. I mean, you can put down anything you want as long as it's inside of 15 characters, including the spacebar. So that's pretty much how the game's played. I guess it's my first attempt toward a rec-styled game, an old-school game. I keep saying Rec Room, it's not Rec Room. It's the first attempt I've made to go towards a older style game. And everyone knows Hangman, and I understand there's some controversy over why it's called that. I didn't purposely name the game Hangman. Well, I did. I named it Hangman because it's the game of Hangman. I did not name it after Hangman because of any references to any of this controversy. And I've seen some people say it's called Hangman because if you put a bad word down, that can hurt someone. That is a good way of looking at it, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. I still don't like Hangman being the name. I mean, I would call it like word Scrabble or something. Not Scrabble. I would call it some like word gibber or something like that. Guess the word. But I mean, I'm staying with the old school theme. So yeah, guys, that's Hangman. If you like the map, it links in the description. The majority of the structural things here, we're just using the full properties of command blocks. So, I mean, there's plenty of good places you can learn command blocks. I recommend wiki pages and stuff. Command blocks aren't hard to learn. It's just when you learn to apply them, they're difficult. So, yeah, guys. If you were Redstoners trying to get some in on the game, well, there you go. That's the game. So yeah, like, subscribe, download the map. I'll have links to both places you can get the map in the description below. And yeah, guys, that was Hangman. I'll see you guys later. Bye.